Hello. I'm Jeremiah_YT. And look. I usually don't talk about politics on this channel. But this needs to be talked about. Because what's happening online right now, with new laws, sudden bans, and silent censorship, is really starting to concern me. As someone who works in IT, I'm beginning to see this stuff seep directly into my own work life. Now, I'm not going to disclose the exact work I do. But I will say this. If this continues, it's going to end badly. Not just for developers or creators, but for everyone. I'm genuinely worried that if this suppression escalates, we might start to see more hacker groups forming. Possibly even the re-emergence of hacktivist groups, which could make this situation far more dangerous than it already is. Now to be clear. I don't condone any illegal activity. I'm not promoting hacking or retaliation. That's not what this video is about. This is about information. This is my research into what's happening right now. And why it affects all of us. And I think it's time we start talking about it. It began in a place most people overlook. Indie games. In early 2024, platforms like itch.io and Steam began quietly removing adult-only titles. Some of these games had critical acclaim. Like Mouthwashing, which was voted one of the best games of the year. But it didn't matter. The moment credit card companies stepped in, Visa, MasterCard, the pressure ramped up. Game after game was pulled or buried under NSFW tags. By mid-2025, itch.io had indexed more than 20,000 games. Not because they broke any law. Not because they were dangerous. But because financial networks said they were objectionable. Visa, MasterCard, and Stripe updated their acceptable use policies. And platforms were forced to choose. Comply, or lose access to payments. Itch.io's founder even suspended Stripe support for adult games. And developers are calling it what it is. Financial censorship. This is how speech gets silenced in 2025. Not by governments. But by banks. And processors. Then, it got bigger. Governments started going after the tools that let people get around censorship. In Myanmar, May 2024. The military government blocked X, WhatsApp, and Instagram. And shut down VPNs like Siphon and NordVPN. In Belarus, VPNs have been banned since 2015. During the 2024 election, they were actively blocking traffic to suppress dissent. Russia passed a new law in July 2025, making it illegal to use a VPN to access any so-called extremist content. India's government, especially in Jammu and Kashmir, enforced a 2-month VPN ban, arresting people who tried to get around it. China has already been doing this for years. If you use an unauthorized VPN, even just for privacy, you're penalized. Freedom House's 2024 report confirms what many of us already suspected. VPNs are being criminalized in dozens of countries. Governments also began directly targeting social media. In July 2025, India's IT ministry ordered X, formerly Twitter, to block over 2,300 accounts. Some of them were news outlets. Some were political commentators. Most were just inconvenient. X called it what it was. Press censorship. And we're seeing the same in China, where social media platforms must filter out criticism of government leaders, or be banned. Meanwhile, in the United Kingdom, the Online Safety Act went into effect in 2024. It claims to protect users, but gives regulators sweeping powers to demand takedowns of vaguely defined, harmful content. I support online safety. But I don't support turning that into a blank check for censorship. Let's not forget the payment companies. PayPal, Stripe, and Patreon all have vague, acceptable use policies. And they've been enforcing them more aggressively than ever. Accounts have been frozen. Entire incomes cut off, without explanation. The Electronic Frontier Foundation even reported that PayPal permanently banned someone just for hosting Tor relays. No criminal charges. No warning. Just gone. And now, there's the Adult Law Act. Introduced in multiple U.S. states, late 2024. This bill would force websites with adult content to require biometric ID verification. Face scans. Fingerprints. All in the name of child protection. But let's be real. This is a surveillance bill. A law like this sets a global precedent. And it could be used to track, monitor, and eventually silence adult creators, and even consumers, for legal content. Again. This is not okay. And I do not support it. When you zoom out, it's all part of the same picture. Games are being pulled from storefronts. VPNs are being banned or criminalized. Social media is being micromanaged by governments. Banks and payment processors are cutting people off silently. This isn't just censorship. It's infrastructure control. And I'm saying this not to cause panic. But because if we don't talk about this now, we might not be able to later. As someone who works in IT, I can already see the effects of these policies trickling into enterprise tech, networking, and cloud systems. And if you think this won't affect you, it will. Once the tools are normalized, VPN blocking, payment blacklisting, content delisting, it becomes default behavior. If this trend continues, there's a real chance we'll see new hacker groups rise in response. Possibly even the return of aggressive hacktivist networks, like what we saw in the early 2010s. That kind of escalation doesn't solve the problem, it makes things worse. I don't support that. I don't encourage illegal action. I just want people to wake up, and talk about what's happening before it's too late. This is my take. This is my research. And this is your warning. Whether it's governments, ISPs, or payment processors. Censorship is being normalized. And we need to say something. So please, share this video. Talk to your friends. Raise the alarm, calmly, legally, and clearly. Because when access to information is controlled by banks, governments, and silent policies, freedom ends, not with a bang, but with a shadow ban. Stay safe. Stay informed. And keep speaking out.